Alright, what's up YouTube friends? How you guys been? Hope everybody's had a wonderful day today. Um, so, I want to get in here and save some time, okay? Because while I do all this reading and researching and looking at all this information to make these videos about the world, um, things like law, psychology, religious texts, all of those things I don't really have to do much research for. They just come forth from within. But seriously, somehow I can just talk about these things indefinitely, and sometimes I even say things just come out that even I'm like, wow, that was profound. But when I do all this reading to discuss these worldly issues, sometimes I come across information that causes me to deviate from the point of the entire video, and I spend a lot of time talking about these subcategories that should just be within the video. And so I take the main focus of the video and set it to the side, and then the main focus of the video becomes something that should have been a minor part of the whole video. So I want to share a couple of these things with you so that I don't have to go off track later. So the first one is in regard to my video contradictions of the state. And boy, oh boy, is there so many of those. It pretty much is a contradiction. The entire idea of external government is a contradiction to the truth. It's insane. And then the second point is in relation to my video about can a man of God, can you and I, being who we are, caring about the things that we care about, loving the things that we love, can you and I, being different, being the second man, can we succeed in this world? Hold on, phone call. Alright, sorry about that. It seems to happen a lot. Ever since I reopened, it's just been nonstop. I'm very tired. Very tired. But let's press on. So, the second thing that I want to talk about, I'm pretty sure this is what I was saying, is about can you and I succeed in this world? And in relation to that, what is the sacrifice? You hear all the time about people that I used to be one of them. Well, I don't know. I never really bought the whole like Kanye West sacrificed his mom for fame and success. I've never bought that. This human sacrifice idea, and I didn't believe it at first with these stars. For some reason, they're called that. With these pop stars and cultural icons, it never made sense to me. And then the QAnon thing happened, and I didn't. At first, I was kind of like, but what happened is QAnon crossed the line into unbelievable. No more could I. It's a thing called suspension of disbelief. When you see things like fake shit on TV, movies, exactly, is a good example. You know that shit's silly. That's not possible. But so that you can be entertained, you suspend that disbelief. Suspension of disbelief, and it broke that. It's sort of a spell that people are under, and there's a couple of them, a couple of spells that the world is under. That spell was broken by QAnon. It was like It's like watching you seen a B movie, not like the B movie with the little B, but a B cast movie. It's just not a good movie. It's poorly made. It's cheap. This was like, I seen it as a C movie. It was that bad. It's like, dude, this shit, I can't even play along with this anymore. It's so stupid. And again, if you buy the QAnon thing, that's on you. Like I said, I used to believe it too, so I ain't mad at you. But I don't believe that people are sacrificing other people and babies and children for money and pain and fame. It doesn't make sense to me. If you want to discuss it, I'm more than willing to discuss it, and I won't attack you. I don't talk to people like that, and that's a big issue with the first portion of this video about contradictions of the state, and this one main point that would take up my entire video, but I don't want it to do that. So let's just get into it. Alright, in regard to the first part, I'm waiting on my wife to come yell at me, if you really want to know. So in regard to the first part, contradictions of the state, there's one huge glaring contradiction that is a current thing. It's right now, and it is so stupid and so backwards and so contradictory that I can't believe that people actually buy it, okay? And it has to do with this Build Back Better, okay? So, she don't scare me. It stems from a couple of fundamental beliefs, things that you have to believe initially to then accept this Build Back Better mantra and program. First, you have to believe that there's something wrong with society and the way that things work, okay? If you... I won't go there. You have to believe that there's some form of discrimination. You have to believe that things work for this certain kind of person, but they don't work for this other kind of person, which is kind of silly because there are people of all sorts in good positions. You have to some degree, believe that you are a victim. You are a victim of things that are out of your hands. You have no control over them. And so we have to fix this issue. We have to tear down, not literally, these institutions, and we have to rebuild them. Okay? I'm cool with that. I don't really care what any of them do. Not you. I know that I assume if you're here on my channel, you're probably a little more aware, not just self-aware, but aware of what's happening in the world. So, you believe those things, that's cool. You want to do this thing about it, that's A-okay with me. It won't bother me because my protection comes from a higher place. That isn't higher as in elevation, that's higher as in spirit. So you believe those things. You want to tear down all of this stuff and you want to rebuild it back. So firstly, my issue with this is has to do with, firstly, the nature of governments. A government is an idea, and it's an idea that people use suspension of disbelief. It's so fucking stupid. I don't understand how anybody could actually believe it. But it's an idea, and it's become a corporation, which still is just an idea. Okay, if you go to a mall and you see all these different stores, yeah, the thing is though, it's just bricks. It's bricks that is filled with some shit, and it has a name, and everybody goes along with that. But all in all, it's just a building, right? There's no difference between a church and a mosque or any other building. It's a building that everyone uses for the same thing. and it's something like a societal construct, but not exactly, um, because it also deals in commerce. But the nature of government is self-expanding power. It gives itself the power to take more power. Okay? So if you're given the government to do one and two things, you can bet your ass the government is going to come back for 3 and 4. And once it gets 3 and 4, it's going to cement 1 and 2 and then use 2 and 3 to take 5 and 6. That's what government does. Why? Why does government do that? It's the nature of government. It's what it does. It governs. It is the master of. It commands. It sets the rules for. And even more in depth, right? The government is made up of individuals who all play this game of pretend that they somehow have authority and power over people who don't play the game of pretend that they play, called government. And so, when someone plays the game of pretend as the civilian, they give the consent, whatever. The point is, it comes down to human nature, okay? Because fundamentally, that's what the issue is. The issue isn't that society is racist and it's sexist and it's bigoted and ism and ists. Add them all, because that's what people want to believe. The thing is, those are part of human nature. They're not part of society. They're not. Your fight, if you want to end racism, your fight is not against this idea called society. Your fight is against human nature. And no matter what you do, no matter what you shut down, no matter what you change, you cannot change anyone's human nature. You can't do it. The only thing that you can do to fight racism, sexism, bigotry, isms, ists, the only thing that you can do about it is not be those things yourself. That's it. And I believe this goes back to be the change that you want. Hold on, how's that go? Be the change in the world that you want the world to be, or some shit like that. This is all going to tie together eventually. So, be the change that you want to see in the world. Now, Joe Biden, the man they chose for Build Back Better. I try to not accuse people of things, even if I know they've done them. And I try to not call people disrespectful names, even if they fit those names perfectly. So I won't. There are numerous examples of each one of these things that the fight is against. Racism, bigotry, sexism. There's dozens of videos, even sniffing children. Joe Biden has done all of those things on film numerous times, not because it was an accident or it was some misconception about what had happened. It was taken out of No. That's who he is. That's who he is. Why does someone consistently down-talk people of color, anyone lighter in shade than him? Because that's how he feels. Why does anyone have 27 allegations of sexual misconduct? That's who he is. He has been in a position of power so long that he believes that power is real. So, you take a man who is the epitome of corrupt human nature and the epitome of corrupt government, and that is the guy that you are going to have Build Back Better to get rid of all of those things that he is the epitome of. If that is not contradictory. Nothing is. That is the epitome of hypocrisy. It doesn't get any more hypocritical than that. I hope that all tied together, because it's really, really, really silly. So, moving on. The second part about can a man of God, can a righteous man succeed in this unholy world? Obviously, the world is unholy. Holy means set apart. The world can't be set apart from the world. That doesn't make, that's contradictory as well, or redundant. So I'm riding with my brother. I have a younger brother named Brandon Michael, biblical. I have an older brother named Joshua, biblical. I have an even older brother named David, biblical. My name is Aaron Matthew, biblical. I have 3 relatives that I'm 30, and I just now met them. They got taken when I was a kid, and it was wild. Social services came back and tried to take me and my older brother Josh, and my grandma got us so that the social workers didn't take us too. And then my mom and dad was like, hey, we've lost 5 kids. Let's have another one. And so my little brother, whom I love very much, and at one point he was my favorite person in the whole world. I miss that kid sometimes. But riding with my older brother, who isn't in the best of situations right now, mentally, financially, socially, any of those things, any of those ullies. He's not in the best spot. So I try to help him out whenever I can. I do it for anybody. I help anybody out. My occupation is one that brings me lots and lots of money, and every single time that I provide the service for someone, I give enormous discounts, and I do everything I can to help people all the time. So, riding with my brother, and he is not having it so good, and I try to plant seeds in people's mind. So I say to him, what do you think it would be like if, let's say, some multi-billion-dollar international, global, whatever corporation were to call either one of us, both of us, and say, hey, we have been scouring through lists of candidates to find someone to fill this position, and we've come to the conclusion that you are the best fit for this position of CEO. And so we want you to be the CEO of this large multinational, whatever. I say to him, how do you think that would go? And he is a sleeper. He's a sleeper, heavy sleeper. My little brother is asleep, but he is capable of waking up. And I guess that's probably because he's my little brother. He looked up to me. And my older brother was a douchebag. So, how do you think that would go? How long do you think that would last? And he kind of laughs and scoffs it off like it's a stupid idea. And I said, well, about 2 days. And then he kind of laughed about it. But the point I was trying to make is, and I told him this, we don't think like CEOs. A CEO has certain jobs that he does, and he is the face of a company. So when a company has something major happens and a company gets a bad reputation, the CEO is the one who suffers. People wonder why CEOs make so much money. It's because if something bad, he's the face of that company. If something bad happens as far as the reputation of that company, he's the one that gets it. He's the one that suffers that punishment. the company's always going to make money. If it doesn't, they'll change the fucking name and the location, and it'll do the same exact thing just under a different name. Like Aquafina and Dasani. Same shit. Pepsi and Coke. Doesn't matter which one you buy. Because at some level, all the money goes to the same fucking place. But enough of that. Those things exist just to create duality in the mind. I'm a Coke person, you're not. We're not the same. That's nonsense. For the record, I don't drink soda. I drink coffee until about 2 or 3, and then I switch and I drink tea. Every video, I drink tea. Occasionally I have a Red Bull, but yeah. We don't think like CEOs. So, a farmer has to think all the time. It's about what consumes your mind. A farmer has to think all the time about the seasons, the times, the weathers, if it's going to rain or not. I said weather, sorry. The soil conditions, the location, all of these things that a farmer has to think about constantly. We don't think like farmers. If someone said, hey, here's 40 acres and a mule, this is your farm now, go take care of it. It wouldn't last long because we don't think like farmers. If someone said, hey, I'm going to offer you a position as a bank teller, I could do it because I think differently than he does. I don't really want to discuss what he has going on because it's not my business. But, like I said, he doesn't make the best of decisions. So, I don't. If he did get a job as a bank teller, I'm sure he can do math. He doesn't have people skills. It's like I've worked with him, like 9 to 5 jobs. I've worked with him. Who Josh is in his spare time, that's just what you get. What you see with Josh, that's what you fucking get. He is himself all the time. I used to make jokes about Josh, my brother. He shot Biggie because dude has stories, just the most random shit. He'll just make up lies about, and it does not. I don't get it. And what hurts me is a lying tongue kills the soul. And this dude fucking lies constantly. But enough about him. So my point is, think about this for yourself. Let's say you wanted to be a firefighter or a policeman, but you've never actually thought about the things that a police officer or a fireman needs to think about. You can't be a figure skater if you know absolutely nothing about figure skating. You have to adopt the mindset. And so this is how this ties into can a righteous man succeed in an unrighteous world? Let's say no. The reason that people excel at things is because it becomes part of their mind. It's not about I think about these things. It's about being that thing and thinking from that perception. It's not about, if you want to be a basketball player, it's not about thinking about basketball related things. It's about thinking as a basketball player. When you look around, this is loose. When you look around, you see hoops, you look in trajectories and whatever. When you're a farmer, you think from the perspective of a farmer. You don't think about silly little farming things. You think about if you already were a farmer. If you can adopt that mindset, then you can be anything that you want to be. And it ties into that don't doubt yourself. If you're already, let's say you want to be a musician. I love music. I love music theory. I love the entire concept. But I don't think like a musician. I think about musical things, and I think about musicians, and I look and I can see the way that they structure their stanzas and verses, all of that. I'm aware of all that lingo, but I'm not inside of I don't have a musician's mind. Let's do it like this, okay? This circle is a musician's mind, and it looks out and it perceives things from the viewpoint of that musician. But someone who isn't a musician is outside of that, just looking at the things inside of it. It's really this is good to meditate on because the keys to knowledge are within. You are perfectly capable of doing anything that you want to do. Furthermore, God helps those who help themselves. If you want it, go get it. That's where the saying comes from. The world is yours. Get out there and get it. It is. It is yours. If you think about horrible, awful, disgusting things, and you lie constantly, and you are just a filth bag piece of shit, you're going to be a politician. You would succeed. You would do great, because that's how politicians think. And that's my point here. You absolutely can succeed in this world. You can. The thing is that's really been shown to me over the past almost 2 years is that people that chase power don't get it. If you chase power and you want power over others, all you get is a fucking illusion. You get a position that makes you feel like you have power, but you don't. If you want power, you don't get it. If you don't want power, it's given to you, because if you want power, you don't know what to do with it. If you don't want power, then you're fit to have it. That's just the way it works. This is what's fascinated me since I was a child. The mechanics behind reality. What what does someone have to do to completely alter their life circumstances? And this is what my life's been about, is trying to understand the mechanics of reality, and I do pretty well. You see, ever since I was a child, I don't know why, but ever since I was a child, I have been fascinated by existence itself. There was a long time when I was really little. I can remember when I was really little, having these so grand thoughts, the things that I talk about now. I used to think about them and then get scared. And I would say, I would tell myself, I don't want to think about that because it's scary. I might hurt myself. And I wouldn't. And it's so crazy because I started slipping into this world and being one of these people. And I got some trauma. And that trauma woke me up. Like, I used to tell my wife, because I tried to talk to my wife about everything. It was like God himself reached from heaven and just decked me, and I came to. And all of these lies that I had been living, who I was, how awesome I was, all of the superficial bullshit that I had accomplished, it was bullshit. I discovered that my castle stands upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. And so it was like everything that I had been through before, I had forgotten. And then suddenly when the truth hit me, I remembered the exact thing I used to say. I used to think about these things, and it would scare me. And I remember being like 13 years old and having those same thoughts. and saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm thinking about him anyway. And I did. Uh, I don't know if that sounds like super fucking weird or cringy or what it may be, but that's what happened. I remember thinking these things to myself. I remember lots and lots of things that I thought about as a child. um, but the point is, you absolutely can succeed. I'm going to wrap this up. This was supposed to be a short video. I enjoy talking to you guys so much. You can succeed if you adopt the mindset of what you want to do. And this is why so many people are in terrible positions. They're poor, homeless, living on streets, on drugs, drinking, all that bullshit, right? That's what they think like. That's what they think like. That's why they're there. You know how I know that? I used to be one of them. I've never liked drinking. But I used to do drugs. I was homeless. With the same woman that I'm married to now. We were a little, I'm only 30, so a little younger. We were homeless. I was on drugs. I was angry all the time. I was not nice to people. The reason that I ain't like that now is because of a massive, massive series of revelations that opened my eyes and showed me truth. Like I said, I was clinically diagnosed with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and that's part of the reason why I have relatives that I didn't meet until I was 30. The truth came to me, and the book says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And I was a prisoner. Oh boy, was I a prisoner. I used to not sleep at all. I would sleep 10 hours a week. I slept so little that if I'm awake more than 8 or 9, sometimes 10 if I'm lucky, if I'm awake more than 10 hours, I will fall asleep standing up because whatever it is, I've burnt it out in my brain. I was a prisoner like no other. And only through trauma, only through hurt and suffering was I actually able to see the truth. And now I'm working my way via the Spirit to a complete knowledge of all things. And it's beautiful. So, one last comment, and then I'll leave you guys alone. So, in Norse mythology, there's a story. So when I was 13, I got locked up until I was 18. So most of my family, I don't even know. My parents, when I got out of all these places I was locked up, I was like 19, I realized that I don't even know my parents. Because I knew them when I was a child, which barely, because my grandma had me. But then I got taken away. And it was my own fault. I'm not mad about it. I thank God every single day for everything that I went through. Because if I had not got taken away and sent to all those places, I'd probably be just like everybody else. But, so at 13 I started copying encyclopedias and dictionaries, and pretty much anything I could get my hands on I would study. I started studying the Bible at 13 years old. And I'm not stupid. I've never been, and I wasn't then either. So even then I was figuring shit out. But I studied Norse mythology, and I read the story of Odin, right? The thing is, all of these mythologies are the same. Ancient Chinese, Egyptian, Roman, Greek, Celtic, Norse, they're all the same. The exact fucking same. The only difference is the names. All of the stories of every culture are the same, because there's one truth. And there's many ways to tell it. Metaphor. There's not quite the words that you need to say what you feel, but metaphor does a good job. Poetry. That's why the Bible's poetic. But I read the story of Odin. Odin and his brother, one person, created the world out of the belly of the ice giant Ymir. It's been a long time since I've read this, so if I got the name wrong, sorry. And in this world, Odin gave his right eye, he gave one eye, to drink from the fountain of wisdom. Now, I know we can talk about one eye symbolism, whatever. I don't think that's quite what you think it is. Not you personally, most people. The truther, conspiracy, one eye devil worship shit. I don't think that's what that is. Odin gave one eye, so now he's single eye, if thine eye be single. He gave one eye to drink from the fountain of wisdom. But, but because he did, everything in life was no longer a mystery. He figured everything out. He had a complete knowledge of all things. And the issue arose when life became dull to him. There was no more surprise. There was nothing else to wonder about. The only mystery that remained was death itself. And so Odin patiently waited for death. That's always stuck with me for some reason, because I know it doesn't sound pleasant, but I know that I will be in the same place. Although I can appreciate beauty in even the smallest of things. A centipede, for example, is fucking beautiful. But that's the last thing I wanted to share with you guys. If you are seeking knowledge, but you don't want to take the mystery out of life, then maybe don't seek so hard. I love you all. Love you all.